you can be mentored by people who aren't alive.
100%. Because their stories still live, which brings us to the importance of storytelling.
Yeah.
Their stories still live. These muses are here. It's important to learn from them.
It's really a matter of protecting your dreams, protecting your imagination. That's really the key. And when you do that, then the world just seems limitless. Doubt is such a strange thing. I mean, it's, there'll be times where you succeed and there are times that you fail. And so wasting your time doubting whether you're going to be successful or not is pointless. It is. I mean, you just put one foot in front of the other, you control what you can't control, and then you see what the outcome is, right? If you win, great. You're going to have to wake up the next day and do the journey over again. If you lose, it sucks, but you're going to have to wake up the next day and do the journey all over again anyway, right? So it's really pointless to sit here and debate or have doubt or this, that, and the other. You train as hard as you can, and you step out there and you let it flow.
Failures, it doesn't exist. It's not existent. What the hell does that mean? Seriously, what does failure mean? It doesn't exist. It's a figment of your imagination.
To say, okay, it's okay to fail because you're going to be loved no matter what. And that doesn't just mean basketball. That means anything in life.
What I've learned is to always keep going. Always. I've come to find out is that, no matter what happens, the storm eventually ends. And when the storm does end, you want to make sure that you're ready. And so I've really learned to put one foot in front of the other, good, bad, or indifferent.
You have to get up every day and do the work, right? Consistently do the work.
And you understand that life has this cyclical nature where it's, what you do on Monday is fantastic, but then Tuesday is a bad day. But guess what? There's Wednesday. Yeah. So are we just supposed to live our lives like this the whole time? Versus just staying like this and understanding that it's really just a journey of evolution every day. It's just constant improvement, constant curiosity, constantly getting better. The results don't really matter. It's the figuring out that matters.
Yeah.
Let's use happy endings, right? And then we can relate this to failure, why it's not existent. Like, everybody talks about, like, everybody wants a happy ending, right? Now let's go to the reality of it, right? Let's look at a fairy tale story. Let's look at Snow White. Mm-hmm. She gets a happy ending. She finds Prince or whatever. She goes on. She lives happily ever after. Well, I call on that because 2 months later, the fact is they had an argument and he's sleeping on the couch, right? So the point is, the story continues. The story continues. So if you fail on Monday, the only way it's a failure on Monday is if you decide to not progress from that, right? So to me, that's why failure is not existent. Because, if I fail today, I'm going to learn something from that failure and I'm going to try again on Tuesday. And I fail, and I'm going to try again on Wednesday.
So, get in the car, get to the gym, get there, and as I'm walking onto the court, who do I see? I see Kobe Bryant, already working out. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of cool. It's Kobe. What's up, Kobe? And so I put my sneakers on. And do you ever get lost in what you do, where you end up like, wait, it's been an hour and a half. Like I'm here, I'm in it. So once I set my foot across that line, I started working out. And so I worked out for a good hour and a half. And when I came off after I was done, I sat down. And of course, I still hear the ball bouncing. I look down, I'm like, this guy's still working out? He was working out for it looks like he was in a dead sweat when I got here. Right. And he's still going. And it's not like his moves are nonchalant or lazy. He's doing game moves, right. I sit there and I unlace my shoes. I'm like, I want to see how long this goes. So I sit out there and watch another 25 minutes. And he got done. I was like, okay, I think I've seen enough. Go play, come back, get in the sauna, get ready for the game. That game, he drops 40 on us, Whoa. Okay? And after the game is over, I'm like, I have to ask this guy. I have to understand, why he works like that. Right. So after the game is over, I'm like, hey, Kobe, why were you in the gym for so long? He's like, because I saw you come in. and I wanted you to know that it doesn't matter how hard you work, that I'm willing to work harder than you.
Wow. You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? No, I don't think so.
How did you get your mindset into this alter ego to be comfortable being Black Mamba? How did that happen?
It's a good separation for me, emotionally, to be able to put myself in a place where at practice or when I'm training or during games, I switch my mind to something else.
I switch my mode into something else. It's go time, right? So that was my mental switch. It was like an actor getting ready for a film. You got to put yourself in that cage. When you're in that cage, you are that character. And then when you leave there, it's something completely different. But when I'm in that cage, bro, don't touch me. Don't talk to me.
You take a look, Chris Rock sitting right next to Kobe Bryant, shooting the breeze, funniest man in the world, telling jokes, and take a look at Kobe Bryant. I don't even hear you.
I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for.
At what age did that goal become crystal clear?
I made that deal with myself at 13 years old.
At 13 years old?
13 years old. That's the
you
deal
were
I made.
Crystal clear about it?
Crystal clear.
And where did inspiration come from?
The love of the game. The love of the game, the challenge. Like I would watch Magic play, I'd watch Michael play, and I would see them do these unbelievable things, and I'd say, you know, can I get to that level? I don't know, but let's find out. Let's find out. After watching that film, I come to understand if I could work that hard every day, with being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, you know, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but you know, if you live your life to just get better every single day, and do that for 20 years, I mean, what do you have?
You know, what I try to do is just try to be still and understand that things come and go, emotions come and go. The important thing is to accept them all, to embrace them all, and then you can choose to do with them what you want. It's very simple. You have to dance beautifully in the box that you are comfortable dancing in. Right? So like everybody's box is different. My box was to be extremely ambitious within the sport of basketball. Your box is different than mine, right? Every kid here has their own box, but it doesn't mean that your box isn't as beautiful as mine, right? Everybody has their own. It's your job to try to perfect it and make it as beautiful of a canvas as you can make it. And if you have done that, then you have lived a successful life. You have lived with Mamba mentality. Right? So it doesn't mean you have to go out here and do all of these crazy things. I'll have to be like this person or that person. No, what are you comfortable being? What is it that you want to do with your life? And once you have that, then you try to live it to the best of your ability.
It's either you have it or you don't.
That sounds like excuses to me. I mean, you got to figure it out, right? If you really have an obsession to figure it out, you will figure it out, right? And every puzzle is constructed differently. All right, AI's situation when he came into the league was different than mine. Mike's situation in Chicago was different than mine, right? Everybody has a different puzzle, man. You just got to figure out your own puzzle.
What do you think is the key to achieving our goals, our success? Some people suggest things like hard work, focus, persistence. But research shows these are all byproducts of something else, something much more powerful that we can all develop.
Your mind. You have to be able, like if your mind starts getting anxious, okay, I know we're getting weird. It's time to work out. Okay, I know maybe we should meditate. Maybe we should do this. Maybe we should do that. Don't just keep scrolling. You got to know when and when. But most people don't have that kind of self-control and discipline.
Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Think about every poor decision you've made in your life.
Gosh.
There was more emotion that was involved in it than there was mind. Every single one of them. Think about it.
Really wise.
Your feelings keep you in bed. Your mind tells you, get up.
Our mind, it's a box of surprises, and you have to challenge yourself to be consistent. I repeat, sometimes it's hard. It's what many people say, you like to go to the gym every day. Of course, no. It's not true. Nobody likes to go to the gym every day. But you have to do it. Probably yes, because your mental strength is coming from that.
How you gain mental toughness, how you become the person you want to be, is constantly facing the things that you don't want to face. If you constantly run away from things that you don't want to face, how is there growth?
They hate it. They hate the struggle. They hate the suck. But if you ever worked with elite Army people, they have this great saying, right? Especially the Green Berets, I love that saying. They say you have to embrace the suck.
Commit to do what you say you're gonna do. From this day forward, if you say you're gonna do it, you do it. So if you're anxious when you hear that because you're like, that's tough. Well, just remember that you're the only person that gets to decide what you agree to or don't agree to. So just quit agreeing to everything if you're so worried about it. Like really think about what you're going to commit to. We're taught to set these high goals. And if I set a goal that I'm going to make 100,000 this month and I come in at 95,000, that's a loss. I didn't get to the 100 and I lost. Now everyone will rationalize and tell me how close I got and how good the effort was. But at the end of the day, it's a loss. And the subconscious mind records it as an L. So you got to lower your goals. No one will tell you this, but trust me, you got to lower your goals to something that you know you can achieve. Can you walk one more mile? Can you eat one less French fry? Can you make one more phone call? Can you do this much more than you did before? And the answer is, of course I can. Okay, then set your goal there and start racking up the wins.
Everything counts. Everything that you do counts. The biggest mistake that people make is they think that only what they want to count counts. No. When you read a book, when you listen to an audio program, when you go to a course, when you go to bed early and get up early and you work, it all counts.
Say what you can do. Do what you say. If you can't do it, don't say you can do it. Don't over-leverage yourself. Don't over-leverage a decision and then jump in and kind of dip a toe. I think I'll try it out. No, think if you're going to try it out beforehand, but when it's time to go, dive.
Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing at a park bench. They're a test of your endurance, or how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds, and it will be better than anything you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way.
Why? Because once the mind knows you're not going to quit something, it's going to try to find more. It's going to try to give you more. Once it realizes you're not going to take the path of least resistance, you're going to stay here until it's done. My mind and my body and my spirit became one for the first time ever. For the first time ever, it became one. And I went to a level that I never thought was humanly possible for myself or anybody else.
Just when you think you can't take any more, that means you're about a third of the way to your limits as a human, as a species. Learning that as a young man or woman is a blessing, because what it means is you have the confidence that when things are hard, physically, emotionally, mentally, you realize, oh my God, I could take so much more and still be fine. And when I worked, my first job was at Morgan Stanley, an investment bank, and I was undereducated relative to my peer group. So I wasn't as skilled as my peer group. So I decided every Tuesday morning I was going to come into work and I wasn't going to leave till Wednesday night. And I'm like, I can do that. I'm physically really strong. I'm mentally really strong. And it sent a signal to the rest of the organization that I came to play. Develop that kind of grit and strength emotionally, physically, and intellectually. You're capable of it. You're just going to look back on that era and be like, just marvel at how out of control strong you are, both mentally and physically.
And that's what separates sometimes the people that do things from the people that just dream about them. You gotta act.
Action is the key to everything. Even if you take the wrong action, if you keep changing your approach, you can succeed in anything. The problem is most people live in their heads. They have their dream, they have their goal, they have the desire, they get hyped up about it, they get fearful about it, and they just don't execute.
If you ask people, older people, to look back on their life and to list their regrets, it's much more common for them to have serious regrets about chances they didn't take than failures that they experienced. The thing about failure is a weird thing, because my experience in life has been that nothing I ever actually did failed. It didn't necessarily produce the result that I intended when I intended it. But if it was a genuine effort and I followed through on it, there was some benefit that emerged in consequence of that that justified the effort. And sometimes that was quite a long time later. Maybe what you learn is how you could have done it better or how you could do it better, but you're going to learn something.
He said, but imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities, the talents given to you by life, but you, for whatever reason, you never pursued those dreams. You never acted on those ideas. You never used those gifts. And there they are standing around your bed, looking at you with large, angry eyes, saying, we came to you, and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. And the question is, if you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what leadership, what books, what gifts will die with you? A very good friend that I lost recently, Miles Monroe, said, the wealthiest place on the planet is not in the Far East where there's oil in the ground. It's not in South Africa where there are diamond mines. He said, the wealthiest place on the planet is the cemetery, because there you find potential never realized. There you find dreams never pursued. There you'll find people allow themselves to be imprisoned by fear and living a small life. Maybe that's why one woman asked in a moment of anguish, what if you live your whole life only to discover it was wrong? Maybe that's why Henry David Thoreau said, oh God, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you've never lived, only to realize that you've never scraped the surface of your potential.
The best way to get the optimum results out of your day is to plan your day the night before. There are two reasons for this. Too often during the day, we're just responding to everyone else's needs instead of doing our intended plan. So if you don't have a plan, you're guaranteed not to be doing what you want to do. You'll be responding to other people. The second reason for planning your day the night before is you can rationally decide what you're going to do at what time of the day. Too often people just work from a to-do list. What you want is to schedule exactly what you're going to do at what time. Schedule how long you think it's going to take. And by doing it the night before, here's the payoff. All night long, your unconscious and subconscious mind is going to be working on how to make that happen. It's going to be coming up with creative ideas, pulling information from your past memory into the present so you can utilize it, and literally planning your perfect day. It's like having an employee working for you all night long. If you do it in the morning, you don't get that benefit. And then start to work your plan. Plan your life, work your plan. You're going to be very, very successful.
Find something. Find a thing that you genuinely enjoy, because getting good at things you genuinely enjoy is extremely beneficial for young people, because it lets you know that, like, everybody thinks they're a loser. Every young person thinks they're a loser, at least a young person in the situation I was at. Like, I didn't know I wasn't a loser until I started winning, until I started doing martial arts. Martial arts taught me that, like, I could get better at stuff, that I wasn't really a loser. I just was someone who was, like, in a fucked up situation. But you could channel all that energy that you have as a young person into something and get better at it. And then all of a sudden people admired me. I was like, this is crazy. So I went from being someone who was incredibly insecure and basically a failure to someone who was really successful at this one thing that was very dangerous.
I fell in love with an essay by Strangest Loop, and it is a list of things that are not doing the thing. So here is a list of things that are not doing the thing. Preparing to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Scheduling time to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Making a to-do list for the thing isn't doing the thing. Telling people you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Messaging friends who may or may not be doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Writing a banger tweet about how you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on yourself for not doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on other people who have done the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on the obstacles in the way of you doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Fantasizing about all of the adoration you'll receive once you do the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading about how to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading about how other people did the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading this essay isn't doing the thing. The only thing that is doing the thing is doing the thing.
I would like to know, when you're in that moment failing and you have to keep going, what do you say to yourself?
What if? A lot of times I'll be in a 200-mile run or something like that, and I'm all jacked up. Body's broken, mind's broken, spirit's broken. I started to say, what if I can pull this off? When I first walked into the Navy SEAL recruiter's office, he looked at me and said, there's only been 35 African Americans in 70 years make it through. You know what I said to myself? What if I can be the 36th? It's the what if I can pull off a fucking miracle. What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be?
Job offers will come to you. Money will come to you if you have this kind of inner strength, this kind of inner power that I think is the ideal for young men today in the world. It's very confusing right now because everything is so fluid and we're all supposed to think that there's no such thing as masculinity anymore, that it's toxic. But real masculinity, that real kind of strength that I'm talking about, is not toxic at all. It is not out there to hurt people. It's not out there to dominate, to be aggressive, to push people around. It's all about an inner strength, an inner confidence that you radiate outward. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I advocate making that your ideal and making that the kind of the radar that guides you through these very difficult times.
Getting over failure and finding success begins with taking 100% responsibility for your life. You have to give up your excuses and victim stories. You have to drop all the reasons you can't succeed or haven't succeeded so far. I know it's a challenge, but if you want to get ahead, you have to take complete responsibility for everything you experience in your life. When we have setbacks, we get sidetracked with blame and excuses, and we give away the power of personal responsibility. You can change that. When something doesn't turn out, you can ask yourself, how did I create that situation? What did I say or not say? How did I get the other person to act that way? You may think you can't control other people's actions, and you're right. You can't. But we have a part in everything that happens. What if you hear that people have said something bad about you? Maybe it isn't even true, but you can think back and see your part in it. Maybe you've criticized them in the past without having all the information. Maybe they've heard you criticize others. Our actions affect people in ways we can never imagine. And finally, you want to ask yourself the real power question. What will I do differently next time to get the result I want? It's great to know what you did to contribute to your own difficulties, but it's pretty useless if you don't put that knowledge to work. Let it help you. Let it move you forward.
After watching that film, I come to understand if I could work that hard every day, with being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but if you live your life to just get better every single day, and do that for 20 years, what do you have?
Say is, when you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it. That's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.
Make that kind of big decision. And, I'd already talked to my wife about this, and she was very supportive and said, look, you can count me in 100%. whatever you want to do. You know, it's true. She had married this kind of, you know, fairly stable guy in a stable career path, and now he wanted to go do this crazy thing, but she was 100% supportive. So it really was a decision that I had to make for myself. And the framework I found, which made the decision incredibly easy, was what I called, which only a nerd would call, a regret minimization framework. So I wanted to project myself forward to age 80 and say, okay, now I'm looking back on my life. I want to have minimized the number of regrets I have. And you know, I knew that when I was 80, I was not going to regret having tried this. I was not going to regret having wanted, you know, trying to participate in this thing called the internet that I thought was going to be a really big deal. I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not ever having tried. And I knew that that would haunt me every day. And so when I thought about it that way, it was an incredibly easy decision. And I think that's a very good, it's if you can project yourself out to age 80 and sort of think, what will I think at that time? It gets you away from some of the daily pieces of confusion. You know, I left this Wall Street firm in the middle of the year. When you do that, you walk away from your annual bonus. And that's the kind of thing that in the short term can confuse you. But if you think about the long term, then you can really make good life decisions that you won't regret later.
Small details in the end of the day will make the big difference, in my opinion. So, as you say, and I will keep repeat, the consistency is the most difficult thing.
Just doing it every day.
Yes, every day.
Do you ever wake up and you say, I don't want to do it today?
I fight against my mind. Yes, sometimes it's happened. We are all human beings. We are not happy every day. We are, you know, not in a good mood every day. It's normal. It's part of us.
What do you do to overcome that?
I fight against that. You know, it's the big challenge. It's when you're not willing to do something, but you have to do it. This is the main point. This is why I say our mind, it's a box of surprises, and you have to challenge yourself to be consistent. I repeat, sometimes it's hard. It's what many people say, you like to go to the gym every day. Of course, no. It's not true. Nobody likes to go to the gym every day. But you have to do it. Probably yes, because your mental strength is coming from that moments, that in a hard moments, you know you should do it. So, and I do it because after that, maybe in the beginning you feel hard to start, but after when you finish the gym or cold plunge or even the training, you will feel better.
What would you say to a young person today who felt that they were predetermined to be a certain way?
You've already quit. If you've accepted that where you are is where you're going to be, you've already lost. And there's no power in that. There's no power in that. That's like staying right here. You're not popping the clutch. You're not going forward. You've made a choice to just stay here. And that's your responsibility. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying there are not challenges, problems, obstacles, issues, fears. But when you quit right here, you're right. This is where you're going to be.
You never quit.
Quitting is not an option.
Hey. Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. All right?
All right.
You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it. You want something, go get it. Period.
How do you love yourself, Luis? Because I talk about it all the time. So I made a list of how to love yourself. And it's even in poster and postcard form now. But number one on that list of how to love yourself is to stop all criticism. Just stop it, now and forevermore. And make a vow to yourself that you're going to do your very best from now on to stop criticizing, number one, you, and then other people. It'll be a lot easier to stop criticizing other people when you stop criticizing yourself.
Focus on you until the focus is on you, bro. I know that, we want the focus to be on us today, but if we put the focus on ourselves, like me, putting the focus on me, giving myself everything I need to be successful, giving myself everything I need to be competitive, giving myself everything I need to be the catch, to be the prize, that's what I'm going to do. When you focus on doing that, fellas, and you don't pay no mind to nothing else outside of your control, you don't pay attention to them paying attention to you. When you stop doing that, I promise you, that's when the focus and the attention is going to be paid on you, bro. I promise you.
Been anything along your journey that you've kind of regretted? And then how do you deal with regret?
I mean, individual choices and mistakes, yeah, but ultimately you learn from those. So, no. Because, even the regrets, the bad things or the stupid things, you learn not to do bad things or stupid things. All those things are beneficial in some way if you can get through them. If you did something that resulted in someone's death or something horrible like that, yeah, it'd be a terrible regret. But I've been very fortunate that hasn't happened. But the dumb shit that I've done or the bad mistakes that I've made, they've taught me. You learn. That's why failure is so important. Failing and fucking up and making mistakes. It's very important. That's how you learn. That's how the bad feeling that you get from something that you shouldn't have done or wish you didn't do or wish you did better. Especially failing at something where you half-assed it and you just feel like a fucking loser. That just teaches you. It teaches you to get your shit together.
Well, you have such a good ability to learn from those things. Some people, I think, kind of it's just it gets repetitive for some people.
That's dangerous. Yeah, it's dangerous to dwell on past mistakes. Because people sort of define themselves by the worst moments that they've ever had. And if that's the case, some people are stuck in high school. They're stuck in failures that they had when they were first getting jobs, and they always think that they're a loser, and they don't like the feeling of failure, so they keep low expectations so that they never have to feel that. You got to get through it. You got to get through bad feelings. You got to get through failure. It's very important. And you get through it by just picking yourself back up and moving forward and going. But it's hard for a lot of people because that sting, they never get over it, the feeling of failure. And they don't have a good support system, good friends. Having a good community of friends is very, very important because you could feel down, if you've been, a girl broke up with you and you feel like you're the worst, you're a fucking loser, you're a piece of shit. But then you go out with your friends and you have a few laughs and next thing you know, you're laughing and you're like, I'm all right. We'll be all right.
And look at you today, man.
Yeah. And I just think that's really critical, right? And it's because everybody has dreams. And as much as you want to be able to listen a little bit, because somebody's going to give you a gem, but nobody knows but you. You can't get advice on what you should do with your life, right? Nobody knows what you are. Even sometimes you don't really even know what you are. You got to take your shot. And it's as much as you want people to agree and you want the people around you to be supporting your dreams and all, it's not going to be like that all the time. You got to do it alone. And people will help you, and when you get the ball rolling, people will jump on. But if you don't believe, nobody else is going to believe. People come along because your belief is so insane.
Thoughts are like drops of water. You drop a drop of water on the table here, and it doesn't mean much. But if you keep dropping and keep dropping and keep dropping, you get the table becomes a wash, and then you get a puddle on the floor, and then you can get a little pond and a lake, and finally you can create an ocean. And with our own thoughts, we can drown in a sea of negativity, or we can float on the ocean of life. And it's up to us. The thoughts we think accumulate. And what sort of puddles are you standing in? Or are you up to here? Or are you up to here and trying to paddle? What are you doing to yourself? When we're willing to change our thinking, we can change our experiences. And it doesn't matter if you've got a big puddle of negative thoughts. You know, you can move over here and create a puddle of marvelous positive thoughts. You can make changes, always. So you want to turn those fear thoughts into positive affirmations. Let them work for you.
Do you believe that every person has the ability to choose the right path, the spiritually enlightened path?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not easy. It can be tremendously difficult. It's easier to quit. It's easier to succumb. It's easier to give in, but to go forward, that's tremendously difficult. You have to be bold to do that, to say, no, this is not where I'm going to be. I often think of another person. This woman and I are the same exact age, same zodiac sign, went to the same elementary school, and lived a half a block away from each other in my hometown, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There was nothing in our environment that said I was going to go on to become Chris Gardner and she was going to go on to become Oprah Winfrey. There was nothing there. We chose. And there are a lot of people in this world who have also chosen. That's one of the things I've learned, this part of the journey in life. So many of us have chosen. And one of the most important things that we have chosen is to break these various cycles. Cycles like links in a chain. We've chosen to break these cycles. We've chosen that, you know what? Whatever was an issue or a challenge or a problem for me does not have to become generational and get passed on to my children.
Yeah.
It's the main point, because everyone wants to be Cristiano, but I give you the map. You think you will do it that? It's difficult. It's
the discipline.
The discipline is the most difficult thing, not only in the sports, but in the life.
I can understand you misunderstand me running down the street, shirt off. This, I can get it. I get it. If you misunderstand what I'm saying right now today, the problem is you, and you don't want to fix it.
There's one special quality that you can develop that will guarantee your greater success, accomplishment, and happiness in life. Of 1,000 principles for success developed over the ages, this one quality or practice will do more to assure that you accomplish wonderful things with your life than anything else.
It's not something that you can talk through. It's a behavioral thing. You have to get up every day and do the work, right? Consistently do the work.
Did you know that only 1% of people are naturally, extraordinarily gifted at something? Do you know what that means for us, the other 99+% of people? If we're going to do anything great in this life, it is going to require discipline. That's the truth. If you are going to accomplish anything extraordinary with the days the Lord has trusted to you on this planet, it is going to require you pushing through the discomfort and embracing the grind.
Discipline is art. Yeah, I think it is, because it's beautiful for me to see. When I see someone who's really, truly disciplined, who like a David Goggins, someone who just like truly maximizes the grind, I feel like there's an art to that.
Goggins, Jocko, Rogan. Is there a common theme? You can throw you in there too as this ascension up. Everybody is fit and disciplined. Is there people who are not fit and not disciplined who are influential?
Well, think about it this way. Do you think that the most successful people in the world became successful and then got disciplined? Or do you think that they became disciplined and then got successful?
Yeah, obviously the latter, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Most people are going to win through discipline.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't care how good you are in anything. You don't have discipline, you ain't nobody.
Right.
You're nothing without discipline, because you give up under the slightest struggle without discipline.
100%.
It's going to make it so much easier. And I think if you look at the greats in anything that, in any walk of life, the greats do things when they don't always want to. And that's the separation.
You can see now how important self-discipline is. It's building that baseline that allows you to act in accordance with your long-term goals, no matter how motivated you feel.
Fortunately, the quality of self-discipline is something that you can learn by continuous practice, over and over, until you master it. Once you've mastered the ability to delay gratification, the ability to discipline yourself to keep your attention focused on the most important task in front of you, there is virtually no goal that you cannot accomplish and no task that you cannot complete.
Eliminate as many distractions as you can and get to a point where you don't need the dopamine rushes of social media. Eliminate distractions and build that muscle of focus. And on this phone has Strides, Trello, Bear, which is my note-taking app, Aura, and Uber. And that's it.
We may think that these external things actually help us relax, but in reality, they don't. They just train us even more. I thought about what exactly I use TikTok for other than watching videos. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna cut this off. And so I did. There's usually a screen right here in a PlayStation. Gave it to my little sister. So just, limiting myself from wasting this energy on these things that don't benefit me in any way. I felt free after releasing it. And now it's just, I'm gonna live differently.
You have to give it everything you got. No more TV, no more parties, no more playing. If you don't have a 4.0, what you need to be doing is studying. Get off the phone. I'm sorry, I'm not available until the end of this year.
Right? Sacrifice temporary fun for permanent dreams, or sacrifice your permanent dreams for temporary fun. And the reality is a lot of you guys are willing to sacrifice your permanent dreams for some temporary fun. Yeah. And that temporary fun is never going to get you anywhere.
The most important question to ask is, what pain do you want in your life? What are you willing to struggle for? Anything worthwhile is going to require some degree of pain and struggle. So, if you're oriented toward the pain and the struggle, you're probably going to be more aligned with what you're capable of accomplishing rather than if you just orient toward the pleasures. So good, because we say find the thing which you enjoy the most, but really what you're finding is what is the pain you're prepared to swallow the most.
So the human brain operates by pleasure and pain. What is pleasurable, we're attracted to, and what is painful, we naturally recoil from. And if things become too painful, we never do them. And if things become pleasurable, we get addicted to them, often with bad consequences. All right? So if the idea of discipline, of consistently doing an action, is only associated with pain, with tedium, of being by yourself in a room, doing one thing over and over and over again, you're never going to get over the mountain because it's associated with too much pain, and the brain naturally shrinks from anything that's painful. Okay? So there has to be pleasure involved. Discipline has to have an element of pleasure. Consistently doing your work has to have rewards. Reward is the key word here, right? But if you've never experienced a reward from discipline, it's going to be very difficult for you. But you have to know that after the 3 months or the 6 months of sitting in your office and writing every single day over and over and over again, because you're trying to write a book or a novel or whatever, it's boring as hell. But man, I'm going to reach that moment in 3 months and 4 months. There's going to be a reward, and I'm going to feel it, and I'm going to get addicted. I'm going to get hooked to that. And you get hooked to those rewards to the point where other kinds of immediate pleasures don't have the same effect on you. And you want this again and again and again in your life. The highs that come from actually reaching your goals. So you have to think in the moment of this where you're trying to discipline yourself of what will be the reward, of the visualize it and feel it. I'm going to have this skill at the end. I'm going to have this business that I've started. I'm going to have this sense of pride. I'm going to have this sense that I got where I wanted to.
Okay, number one, specify your damn goals, because how are you going to hit something if you don't know what it is? That isn't going to happen.
This means that you sit down with a pad of paper, a pen, and ample time to think. You think through and then make a written list of all the things that you want to accomplish in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 years. You organize the list into the various areas of your life, your career, your money, your family, your health, and the other parts that are important to you. Interestingly enough, if you can be clear about your goals and write them down, There's nothing that can stop you from achieving them.
Okay, so once you get your goal structure set up, you think, okay, if I could have this life, it looks like that might be worth living, despite the fact that it's going to be, you know, anxiety provoking and threatening, and there's going to be some suffering and loss involved and all of that. Obviously, the goal is to have a vision for your life such that, all things considered, that justifies your effort. Okay, so then what do? Well, then you turn down to the micro routines. It's like, okay, well, this is what I'm aiming for. How does that instantiate itself day to day, week to week, month to month? And that's where something like a schedule can be unbelievably useful. Google Calendar. It's like, make a damn schedule and stick to it. Okay, so what's the rule with the schedule? It's not a bloody prison. That's the first thing that people do wrong. They say, well, I don't like to follow a schedule. Well, it's like, well, what kind of schedule are you setting up? Well, I have to do this, then I have to do this, then I have to do this, you know, and then I just go play video games, because who wants to do all these things that I have to do? It's like, wrong. Set the damn schedule up so that you have the day you want. That's the trick. It's like, okay, I've got tomorrow. If I was going to set it up so it was the best possible day I could have, practically speaking, what would it look like?
Top people think about what they want and how to get it most of the time. And as a result, they're thinking about their goal, and they're thinking about the actions that they can take every single minute of every day to move faster toward achieving that goal. Earl Nightingale once said that happiness is the progressive, step-by-step realization of a worthy ideal or goal. When you feel yourself moving step by step, each hour, each day, toward achieving something that's important to you, you feel positive and happy most of the time.
While you may not look like me, how my daily life looks, it don't look fun. It don't look fun. So it's a choice that people have to make in life. But what's so funny about it is even the richest of rich, who have everything, they always ask me this question. I feel like I'm missing something. I don't feel like I'm missing. I don't have what you all have, but you'll never in my life hear me tell you I'm missing something. Everybody is. They're missing this feeling. I found it a long time ago. I found it right there.